Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings. Welcome to Boulder City Municipal Airport and welcome to the Carenado Waco. It's not Waco, it's Waco. Let's get it right. YMF-5. It's not Waco and it's not Waco, it's Waco. That's official. This is a beautiful biplane just been released by Carenado for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Just an absolute stunning looking aircraft. I haven't flown much Carenado in P3D, tending to prefer the A2A AccuSim, that kind of thing, but Carenado are known for making a beautiful looking aircraft, and this really is no exception. It's just stunning. I literally downloaded it a couple of hours ago, haven't flown it. I thought we would take a flight from here to the Hoover Dam, get to know the aircraft, and you can kind of experience it for the first time with me. Sounds good? Let's get cracking. So first off, let's have a look at this quite stunning cockpit. Really love it. It's a nice mixture of, because this was the 5 was the original aircraft was designed in 1934. This is the 80s version. The 5 denotes it as the 80s version. So you've got this fantastic mix of nice kind of classic steam gauges, the nice primary instrument cluster there, and then you've got some kind of 1980s style modern for the period avionics going on there. There's no GPS, but we do have our radios. We'd have our nav radios. Once we get rid of that tablet, we can have a look at what we've got there, but quite possibly we've got an HSI. I would imagine we can do some VOR tracking in this. Yeah, absolutely stunning. Just having a quick look around, see what we have. Beautiful, love that little wood panel effect there. Just out of interest, are we, yeah, so we're in the rearmost cockpit, which is where we should be. There is a passenger's cockpit just ahead of us, but for the old C of G, we're sitting in the rear. Looks fantastic from the inside. Yeah, really liking that. Okay, anyway, let's go flying. Stop messing about, me stop waffling. So let's get us into some kind of flying configuration here. I'll just have a quick look at little nav map there to see. I've not been to this airport before, so I'm just getting an idea of where we are in terms of which taxiways. Okay, so we'll go for the shorter 27 right. We've got a 2-knot wind coming from 264, so that's nothing. So let's have a look what we've got on this tablet. So static elements, I have no idea what that is. These items only work if the airplane is stopped on the ground. All systems engines off, and well, let's have a look what happens. I guess we need to pop outside for this. Okay, so we've got the cones, we've got pitot cover. Cool, nice little details. I'm not going to put external power on for this, although I might regret that. Passenger cover we've got on. The pilot is in the house. Everything is good there. Baggage door, we're not worrying about baggage today. What we got next? Startup. Select your option, then click done to activate. So we'll go for cold and dark. And let's go next. Fuel selected. Okay, so let's run through the checklist. What if I can move this around? No, didn't mean to do that. Wonder how we get that back. Okay, the beauty of experimentation. I found out that to get the old tablet back on, you press on the top of the stick there. So there we go. So interestingly, we've selected cold and dark. And I'm used to the A2A checklist where you get everything. This just has a takeoff checklist and a landing checklist, but there's no kind of pre-flight or engine start checklist. So bear with me because we're going to have to guess through this one. So let's just get rid of that for the time being. Let's have, actually just out of interest, what did that say? takeoff checklist, fuel selectors on, alternator, gauge check, mixture set. Okay, it's kind of an abbreviated one. Okay, let's do what feels right to start off with. I'm not seeing any prime. We have no prime anywhere I can see. Okay, so that's a battery alternator. Have everything off at the moment. Let's have a quick look around our instruments. Let's see. Okay, that's good. Just getting familiar with everything. Now, where are our fuel gauges? Not seeing a fuel gauge. Got fuel flow up here. I wonder if it's all in there. Checking for anything on the floor. Sometimes with these old aircraft you see that. Okay, so I'm guessing it's in here somewhere. Okay, we've got a fixed pitch propeller. If you watch the Spitfire tutorial, you kind of know what that means. Basically, it means that we've got an aircraft with one gear, as it were, apart from multiple gears. That's a simplistic way of putting it, but we go with that. So we've got no prop lever to control. So we'll just crack the throttle. I'm going to put the mixture to rich. Quick look around. What else have we got? Let's put the beacon on as we're about to start turning on choppy things. Put the fuel pump on. Okay, let's I will shut up for a moment and let's see what she does. Oh, beautiful. Lovely sound. Okay, quick look at the gauges. Oil pressure's good. That's fine. Bring down the RPM a little bit. Have our avionics on. Okay, let's leave that for the time being. I am a little bit concerned that I can't see fuel gauges anywhere, unless I'm just being as blind as a bat, and that is kind of important. I think it would be in there. This isn't an instrument that Okay, old aeroplane, so what have we got? I bet that there is a rudimentary fuel gauge. Let's test the theory, shall we? To do that. So look, so if I empty the left main, yes, look at that, love it. So as I increase the main, that comes up. So there's our fuel gauge. Love it. There's something beautiful about the simplicity of these old aircraft. What else have we got? So we've got everything. We've got our avionics on over that side. This is all looking okay. Our transponder on. Bring that all to life. Have we got a See where we're going. I think just for a bit of fun, I'm going to tune it to the Boulder City Vortac 116.7. Come back. It's always the same. When you go to another screen, you lose the control for a moment. So what did I say? 116.7. Okay, let's switch that. There we go. HSI's come alive. And we are there, which, looking at the map over there, is about right. Love it. Okay, we'll just leave that on for fun. Okay, let's have a quick look over here. That's looking fine. Right, let's get going. So, yeah, I want to... Okay, it's interesting. The default aircraft seems to be scooting down that way, so why not? Let's now have a quick look here. We'll put the pitot heat on. Turn on the position lights. Don't need anything else at the moment. Happy with all that. T's and P's. Oil pressure's good. Oil temperature is rising nicely. And everything else is looking good. Okay, I think just for this purpose, I'll leave the altitude where it is. Right. Okay, let's go take a look. Let's see what the handling characteristics are like on the ground. I'm taking a huge risk here because what I've done... Yeah, there you go. I've been messing with my rudder sensitivities, and I had some curves in just to make it a bit smoother, and I've taken those curves out, and this is an absolute beast in terms of sensitivity now. Tiny inputs, and just resetting the track IR, and it's going bonkers. See what I mean? Very twitchy. I need to have a look at that. See how sensitive that is. I think that's probably, I don't know if that's more my sim or the aircraft, but yeah, makes life interesting. I don't think I've ever seen such sensitive rudder. Again, could just be my setup, but there you go. Something that I will just, let's just bring it to a halt a second. Yeah, that's horrible, actually. That's very odd. Is it locking tail wheel? No, that's the trim. Is that working? I think that's the tail wheel there, but it doesn't seem to be... Perhaps it's not modelled in this. Yeah, I don't think that's modelled. Okay. Tell you what we'll do, one moment, bear with me. I am going to change my settings on the old rudder, because that's horrible. Okay, I've just made some adjustments to the curves, and we'll see if that makes much of a difference. It's still a little bit sensitive, but we'll see. Coming up to the threshold just up here. I have to say, I do find the graphics in Microsoft Flight Simulator absolutely stunning. Just quick check, seeing as we seem to have some AI floating around. There's nothing about to come in. No. One of the things I love about Track IR in these open cockpits is you can literally stick your head out. Love that. Get a face full of flies if you did it in real life and you were moving, probably, but I do love that. Okay, let's enter the active. now put our strobe light on. Oh, that's still quite sharp. Picked up speed quite fast there. So let's just do a rolling takeoff, shall we? See how she behaves. Whoa! Okay, now here is a little hint for you. This is the fun of taking it up for the first time with you guys, really. The reason why you can tell that the video stopped and started again is having horrendous problems with takeoff, and it felt like the tailwheel lock should be on, and of course down here there's nothing going on with the tailwheel lock at all. Quick look of Google. Google is your friend, and this could be in a manual somewhere, but I haven't managed to find it yet. Is that there's no click spot for the tailwheel lock, but you can actually assign a button to it. So that's what I've done, and I've quickly tested it, and the tailwheel lock works. So I've got it on now. So let's have a look. So briefly, the issue is that the aircraft veers a heck of a lot, and minor adjustments before the tailwheel lock, it was going all over the place. And you know, I've flown the Mustang, the A2A Mustang in P3D, so I understand the effects of torque. I understand how you need to use the rudder to keep the aircraft central on the runway, but this was just absolutely bonkers. So we've got that done now, so we're going to give it another try, and we're going to see what happens. Quick check that everything's where it should be. Let's have a quick look outside, because I want to... yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's put on some power, pull the stick back. Let's see where we go with this. Anticipating that any minute it's going to start veering. There it goes on the rudder. See, that is ridiculous. I'm going to keep the power on, and let's get airborne. Probably one of my least favourite takeoffs that I've ever done, but that's how we learn. So that is something to have a look at. I've flown Mustang, Spitfire, Tiger Moth, and P40 and Harvard, and never experienced anything quite like that. So that's something to practice. Obviously something to Google, because I think a large element of that is getting used to the aircraft, but also something doesn't feel quite right about that. But that's all part of the fun, isn't it? Probably actually just practice. So there is Boulder City Municipal. Just pull back on the power a little bit. Bit of trim. Yeah, trim wheel is moving. So as I say, we're going to head over to the Hoover Dam. Nice little trip, do a bit of sightseeing and get to know the aircraft a little bit. Quick look around. Everything's looking good. Let's have a look outside, shall we? Let me just check trim a little bit more before we do that. There we go. That's better. No doubt about it, it looks absolutely stunning. They have done a beautiful job of it. Nice to see it just getting buffeted around in the air a little bit there. Love these big radial engines, really nice, great sound. So in flight, she's actually lovely and stable. Again, I'm not sure how much of that is due to where we're at the moment in terms of the ability to really represent a realistic flight model, both in Microsoft Flight Simulator and also, you know, from the developer. It's certainly a heck of a lot more stable in the air than the AccuSim that I'm used to flying. But it's certainly very pleasant to fly. At the end of the day, I think this costs about £12.50. You know, £12.50 is not bad, really, and it looks great, and it's a bit of fun. Now, I doubt he'll watch this, but a certain gentleman taught me the pleasure of flying under bridges. But if he does watch, hello, mate. But I had a nasty shock the other day flying under London Bridge. That even though this was the Orbex landmarks, even though I was clear of any structure, I got a crash in the sim, you know, an aircraft crash. So I am a little bit reticent. There's part of me that's saying, go on, dive down under that bridge and then pull up over the dam. And then there's another part of me saying, no, because if you do that, you're going to crash. But it's tempting. I think the incredibly exciting thing about this sim is, despite some of the quirks, despite the fact that, you know, at the moment there isn't anything like the really complex third-party aircraft that have the complex flight models and systems, the landscape is absolutely gorgeous, and a lot of the things like mesh popping that you see in P3D, you just don't get in this. That landscape is pretty rock solid. There's no sudden changes of elevation or things popping in and out. And there we have the Hoover Dam. And the Waco is very stable. I really have a hard time. I have to think before I say that. Having gone regularly to Texas in a previous life, my head wants to say Waco, and then the initial auto correction it makes is Waco, and then somewhere in my head it says no, it's Waco. I think we should have a look at that dam, and I think we should have a try under the bridge. But I will say one thing: if we crash, it's your fault because you pushed me into doing this. This wasn't my idea, okay? So let's come over here a bit. Watch the speed. Not sure what the maximum safe speed on this is, and I'm not about to try and push it to find out, so let's come back on the power a bit. It's quite funny not having propeller controls. One other request, please. If ever anyone from Asobo sees this, which I doubt, please, please, please work with the Parallel 42 guys so that we can have chase plane in this, because I am absolutely lost without it. The the camera possibilities with chase plane in P3D, the smoothness, it's just fantastic. And unfortunately, I don't have the same kind of feelings for the cameras in Flight Sim. Now this is going to be interesting. Can someone put the Dam Busters theme tune on, please? Nothing to see here, don't worry. Right, here we go. Will the bridge cause a crash? As we can see, we are nicely clear. Look at that. We're still here. How wonderful. Right, let's put the pedal to the metal. Beautiful landscape. I think this sim is a great way of seeing the world, and certainly when A2A produce a warbird, I am very tempted to do another round the world trip in it again, because in P3D most of the time, pretty much all the time, doing the round the world trip in the Spit that I did, you're seeing kind of repeated texture tiles and things like this, whereas in this simulator you're pretty much seeing the real thing. And I think to do a round the world trip in this simulator would be absolutely stunning. Great way to see the world, and doing it in an Acusim aircraft where you've got the realistic flight model, that's just going to be beautiful. Oh, that's nice. Sorry, one of the downsides for you when you come along on a video like this is that I'm messing about doing getting some screenshots. I mean, really, that is just quite stunning when you think that that's actually the landscape. If you were to fly over here in real life, you would kind of be seeing that right down there. Just absolutely mind-blowing, really. So let's get some altitude, let's chuck it around a bit and see what it does. Interesting, our oil temperature gauge has hardly risen. Oil pressure is good. Everything else is looking fine. Our temperatures seem quite high. Okay, let's see what happens when we do a loop. So what is our altitude? 2000, just coming up to 2000. Well, it's probably not above ground level, so we're not going to mess about. Let's take her up a bit higher. It's a new aircraft and we're not used to her. Don't want any accidents. interesting trying to fly an aircraft and also move the camera on a separate controller. Beautiful. It is a beautiful model. Carenado have done an amazing job. There's our airport down there. So let's just level off a bit, pick up some speed. Okay, let's put the nose down a touch. Let some speed build up. Not taking any chances. Okay, let's do it. Let's see what happens. Doesn't want to loop, so let's not mess about. Kick the rudder in. There we go. Interesting. Let's try a little bit more speed. Come on, sweetheart. Yeah, I was ridiculously slow, really, thinking about it. Probably trying to be a little bit too gentle on the speed and not using my brain and thinking that that's woefully slow for actually trying to do a loop on that initial one. And we just made it on the second one. Let's try a roll. Okay, we'll get some height again and we'll see what the stall looks like. Let's pull back on the power now. Hold her steady. I need to really pull back on the thing. And that's the stall. Okay, I was expecting a bit more than that. Hey ho. I've actually seen that. Looks like there's a Kermit Weeks series on his Waco. So I think that will definitely be worth checking out. Sorry, citizens of Boulder. Don't even know if this is Boulder. Is this Boulder? Guess it must be. It's called Boulder Municipal. Has a nice kind of in the air. It has a nice kind of heavy feel to it. You feel like you're flying a heavy radial engine aircraft. That's for sure. Definitely fun to fly. Okay, shall we do a touch and go? Shall we do a let's do a touch and go. You're probably up for a bit of entertainment. Okay, this time I'm going to take 27 over here, because that's more in line with the wind, and the wind is quite light. Was it 3 knots? And I don't think it would have had that much of a dramatic effect as we were seeing before, but let's give it a whirl. Coming in high and fast, so we'll just try and hold off and bleed some of the speed off. Heavy to coming down. Bit of a bounce. Let's put the power back on. See if we... There we go. That's that horrendous twitch. Bit of correction though. And not bad. Okay, interesting. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. So, on that first approach there, the weight of the aircraft kind of came into play. We were coming in high speed, and I was expecting the aircraft to float a little bit more, which is what I was kind of anticipating, and actually it started just coming down, which was interesting. So instead of having that nice gentle floaty 3-pointer, we came down a bit harder than I anticipated. Still, I don't think anyone would have worried too much if they were in the back. And let's face it, if you're going to get in the back of an aircraft with me when it's the first time I've flown it, you are taking your life in your own hands, and the risk is entirely yours. look under that wing. There we go. There it is. There it is. Let's bring the power down. Coming in a bit high again. See if we can't do this a little bit more gently. Okay, that was better. Twitch again. Power back on. Oh, that twitch is horrible. That twitch is horrible. Incredibly sensitive. Wow. How do the pedals move? So the pedals are moving quite gently in the... there. Seems to be quite violent in on the ground. So yeah, I think the it's a very interesting aircraft. It's definitely a challenge in terms of that twitchiness on the ground. That will be something that will be interesting to master. It may be something that will change, the behavior will change on future patches or updates, or maybe that is just how the Waco is on the ground. I think from the point of view of what you can do with it, it's lovely because it's a lovely aircraft to fly for sightseeing. But also because of these avionics that we've got in here, you can do some, you know, pretty serious radio navigation. You could have some fun flying some routes using VORs and NDBs and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, for £12.50, it ain't bad really to have such a beautiful looking aircraft with the features that it's got. I'm certainly not complaining, and I'll definitely be flying it. I think I know someone else who might be flying it, but I don't think he's good enough, but we'll see. Right, let's have another go. Okay. Right. Yeah, that ground handling is very strange. Very strange indeed. That might be how the real thing... Let's just center that track IR again. Wrong button. Yeah, that might be how the real thing behaves. Oh, let's turn the tail wheel lock off. It'll be easy to taxi. There we go. Yeah, it might be how the real thing operates. I don't know. But it's very, very, very twitchy. But that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, you know, I'd be probably a little bit disappointed if I had a new aircraft and I took it up for the first time like that and didn't find something in it that I thought, wow, that needs a bit of practice, because that's what it's all about. If it was a piece of cake first time, then it would be boring. But compared to anything else that I've flown, that is certainly Twitchmeister General. That probably won't mean much to a lot of you, and I apologise. Yeah, the ground handling is weird. It's almost like, I don't know, hard to describe it. A little bit GTA 5, if that makes any sense. But wow, isn't she just stunning? Gorgeous sound, looks the part. £12.50. I am not disappointed. So there you go. Thanks for coming along. I think these first flights are always interesting because it is really a case of getting to know an aircraft, and things don't always go to plan, and that's what it's about, really. Understanding how it works, making the mistakes, finding out what the quirks are, so that you can then build on it and kind of take it to a next level, really. But yeah, see you soon.